Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. May I take your order? Today in topic 2, we're going to be adding and subtracting decimals. And so, also in topic 2, we learned about some mental math strategies and estimating and using models, and all of those things are fantastic for really kind of truly understanding what you're doing when you add and subtract decimals, and they're also helpful for making sure that your answer is reasonable. But today we're going to focus on using the algorithm to add and subtract decimals involving tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So just as a general review, take a moment and see if you can't add this problem. Right, pause the screen, try it somewhere, try it in your head, see what you get. If you were to tell me that 5 plus 5 is 10, and you carried your 1 to the next place value, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once I have 10, I need the second place value. 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9, and 7 plus nothing is 7. Right? If you were to tell me that that was 790, you're in a good place so far. What about subtracting whole numbers, though? Like, what happens here? I have 45 brownies, and I want to give 27 of them away. So again, pause it, try it, think about it in your head. Maybe you can do it mentally. That's fantastic, right? But the general idea is this. I want to take 7 away from 5. Right? It is not 2. I don't just drop a 2 here. That's not how this works. Right? If I only have 5 of something, I can't take 7 away. I have to go next door and borrow. I take one of my 4 tens, now I have 3 $10 bills, right? And I turn it into that. So what I really have now is I have 3 tens and I have 15 ones. I still have 45. It's just kind of broken up a little bit differently. But now what it's done is it's enabled me to do 15 minus 7, take 7 away from 15 and get 8, take 2 away from 3 and get 1. These two strategies, this carrying strategy here, this regrouping, and borrowing, are going to come up today a lot. So take a moment, get that highlighted, pause the screen if you need to. All right. So what we're looking here right at the top of the screen is a story problem, but we're looking here to add 6 tenths and 49 hundredths. And the first step is that I want to write both numbers vertically, and this is the important part, lining up the decimal points. Okay. If need be, you could include zeros to show place value. So you might add that 0 there. That's step 1, right? Down here in a picture model, here I have 6 tenths, and here I have 49 hundredths. Okay, step 2, add the hundredths to the hundredths, right? We're going to add same size pieces. Pennies plus pennies, dimes plus dimes, dollars plus dollars. So 9 plus 0 is 9. 4 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. I've jumped ahead of myself a little bit. Okay. I've started to combine steps 2 and 3. I added the tenths as well. Okay. The key here is that what we've done, right, is by lining up our decimals, we are forcing ourselves to line up similar place values. And then we also need to write our decimal point down our answer, right? The decimal point falls straight down. And that's how you add decimals, ladies and gentlemen. The steps are at the top of the screen. They're in your notes. Let's do one together, and then you can try 2 on your own. So what I like to do first when I'm writing these problems myself is I'll take my decimal points, and I'll draw them first. And then I write this number, 2 and 97 hundredths, so that it looks the exact same. I'll take this number, 0 and 35 hundredths, and I'll line it up so it looks the exact same. What some students do is they want to do this right? They think that the 35 needs to be all the way to the left, and that's not the case. Right? You want to make sure when you write your numbers that they look the exact same here. All right, let's add. 5 plus 7 is 12. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 3 is 13. And 1 plus 2 plus 0 is 3. Our decimal point falls straight down. 3 and 32 hundredths. Pause the screen and try the next two. In both of the next two examples, you had to not only line up the decimal points, but kind of annex some zeros, add some zeros to make sure you keep your place values straight. See me if you have any questions. And then here's a problem I want you to try on your own. The goal here is to see which of these expressions are equal to, it's off the top of the screen, but we're looking for expressions that equal 12 and 9/100ths. So pause the screen and try this now. This problem is a little tricky because we've given you 5 different problems to do essentially for one. That's part of the problem, right? The other thing is that you need to make sure that you really are lining up your decimal points and lining up your place values here. Some of this you might be able to do mentally. For example, like I know, right, I know 11 plus 1 is 12 and 9/10, right? I know that that's going to be one of them. Okay? Others you might need to write down, right? Or maybe for this problem, once you write it down and you line up your place value and you start going, you notice 3 plus 6 is 9. Well, it's got me a 9, but it's in the wrong place value. And so that one's not going to be correct. Okay. Right. Here I have 8 plus 2 plus 0. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 8. You might be tempted to say no, but remember that the 0 at the back end of this doesn't change the value. That's actually a correct response. Okay. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Close, but not quite. This one's really tricky because if you don't line up your place values, you're going to say that it does, right? Because 1 plus 1 plus 7 is 9, but those place values aren't lined up. 1 plus 1 plus 0, 0 plus 0 plus 7, 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 12, excuse me, plus 7 is 12. So that one is also incorrect. As far as subtracting goes, there's also 3 steps. Take a moment right now, pause the screen, highlight all 3 at once, and then you can put your highlighter away. Right. Again, just like adding, step 1 says we need to write the numbers, lining up the decimal points. Okay. We also need to include zeros to show place value. This is more important with subtraction, right? 3 and 5/10 minus 2 and 38/100ths. I need that 0 there. Okay, I need that 0 there. Right. In step 2, we start to subtract. We regroup. Fancy word for that. We're going to borrow if necessary. So I know it's printed in your notes. I'm going to write it here to show you and talk you through my thinking. Actually, this, I guess, is our annex 0. I don't really like how that's lined up. There we go. Okay. So right now I'm trying to take 8 away from 0. If I have 0 of something, I cannot take 8 away. You might be tempted to just do this. That is not correct. If I have 0, I cannot take 8 away. So I must borrow. I go to the 5. It becomes a 4. My 0 becomes a 10. Now I can do 10 minus 8 is 2. If borrowing something that's not sitting right with you, please come and talk to me and let's have a conversation about that. We can talk about some different strategies. Okay. And finally, then you subtract the tenths and the ones. So, right, in your notes it's printed there that we've already done our borrowing. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 4 minus 3 is 1, 3 minus 2 is also 1. Okay, and then we also want to make sure that we're writing our decimal point in our answer, because 112 is very different than 1 and 12 hundredths. All right. Let's try the middle one, and then we will, I'll pause it and you guys can try the rest. So we're going to write our numbers vertically. Again, if you struggle, start with your decimal point and then write everything else in. Add a 0 if necessary. Can I take 2 from 0? No, I cannot. Borrow from the 3, 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. Can I take 8 from 2? No, I cannot. Borrow from 3, 2 becomes a 12. 8 from 12 is 4. 2 from 2 is 0. 1 from 4 is 3. Decimal point falls straight down. Pause the screen and try the next two. There are the two answers. It's the same idea, right? I'm lining up my decimal points. It's falling straight down, right? When necessary, I'm annexing a 0, and we're borrowing. See me if you have any questions. There are two practice buddies here. One of them is adding. I think that's this one. And one of them is subtracting. You have to complete both of them. Okay, that's the goal. See me with questions, and have a great day.